What's up, everybody? IFBB Pro Seth Feroce coming at you with some nutritional information. Going to go over carbohydrates. We're going to scratch the surface. We're going to give you some information for you to learn, trial and error. That's my goal with everything, is to educate you so you can work with what you got and take your own notes and keep your own, because what works for me might not work for you, but there is always a rule of thumb on things. So we'll go through. There's high glycemic carbs. There's low glycemic carbohydrates. High glycemic carbohydrates, rule those into the white category. White rice, white pasta, white potatoes, okay? Sweet potatoes, oatmeal, brown rice pasta, things like that, they're going to be a little on the lower glycemic carbohydrate. Higher glycemic carbohydrates are going to spike your insulin. Whenever they spike your insulin, imagine growth, okay? They're going to take all this and drive it into your muscle cells relatively quickly. Now, with this, you hear people say, well, with a higher glycemic carbohydrate, I'm going to get fat if I eat too many of them. Yes, or if I eat them. If you eat too many of them, yes, because what's going to happen is your body's going to take this, you're going to spike your insulin levels, it's going to take it and drive it into your muscle cells. Everything that you have that is not utilized, that your body cannot use, will be stored as fat, okay? With insulin, it takes everything and drives it into your muscle cells. Whatever your muscle cells cannot use, they'll be stored as energy, stored as fat, energy. So that's why when I'm eating something that is very high in glycemic index, like potatoes and pasta, you will see me not eat as much fat with it. I'll probably end up having some really lean red meat with my pasta, or you'll see me do chicken and rice and chicken with potatoes. Okay, that's different. That's not a cheat meal. That's just an everyday meal, or like a regular meal I would have with that. But with that, always remember, that's why it's essential to find out that happy medium. For me, with rice, it's about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of rice. If I do 2 cups of rice regularly throughout the day, I can feel myself, by the end of the day, I'm a little fuller, and I say, okay, maybe I'll clean up the next day. I do it again, then I realize that's too much rice. Can I eat it? Fuck yeah, I can eat it. But if it's too much for your body and you end up getting fat from it, you're noticing that you're getting fatter than the fat and gains ain't weighing out, brother. Okay, don't bullshit yourself. So that's high glycemic carbohydrates. It's just a rule of thumb, real simple. With low glycemic carbohydrates, you're not going to spike your insulin levels quite the same way, okay? So with that being said, you have to, again, find out how to utilize and how much to put per meal, okay? Put it this way, whenever I do have a red meat meal, it's typically with sweet potatoes, okay? That's just how I've done things for quite some time. It works out well for me that way. I usually do like a 93.7 on a red meat, okay? But if I do something that's a little fattier, I'll end up doing like 85.15 on grilled burgers, and I'll do sweet potato fries with it, okay? And I'll bake them in the oven, my own recipe. With my oats, I usually do oats and egg whites. Whenever I do oats, that's very seldom. I seldom eat oats because higher in gluten. Whenever I eat too often of oatmeal, I feel like my stomach is caked. It feels too distended for too long of a period of time, and I don't see it being very beneficial on a daily basis. That doesn't mean that I don't eat oatmeal. It's in my house. I do eat it. I probably eat it once every 2 or 3 days. I'll utilize it in the morning or at my second meal. It's a great carbohydrate. Just use it sparingly and find out how it works for you. Whenever I'm in prep and I'm eating less amounts of it, yeah, it's more beneficial because you find out how you're looking. Go by how you look and how you feel if you're in a prep. Okay, if you're in a prep, or not even in a prep, it's all about how you feel and how you look. Like I said, if you're eating too much white carbohydrates, I dropped a grain of rice. If you're eating too many, wife's going to kill me. If you're eating too many white carbohydrates, you're going to notice that you start building that extra layer, and you're like, that's whenever you weigh gains to fat. Which one are you? So this isn't rocket science, okay? Whenever you're choosing a certain amount to eat throughout the day, like I was talking about with this, I can eat the 2 cups at every meal, but that doesn't mean it's a good thing. So when you're choosing how much of a certain carbohydrate to eat, it's going to be based on trial and error. I would say the best way to start is start with 1 cup of white rice, about 1 cup of pasta that is cooked, and then about 8 ounces of potatoes. That's about equal to each other. Okay, by doing so, you'll find out where you stand. Eat that for a meal with your protein source, and then if you notice that wasn't enough for me, up it. If you say, okay, that was too much for me, lower it. So with that being said, how do we keep ourselves hungry? Because I get this question a lot from people. Seth, by my fourth meal, I'm not hungry. Okay, I'm eating about a cup and a half of white rice at my first 3 meals, but come my fourth meal, it's been my 3 hours and I'm just not hungry anymore. But I need to eat. Should I force feed myself? Well, no. Okay, if you're not hungry by that 3 hour period, that means that your body doesn't need the food. Your body should be telling you to eat. You should be anabolic. You should be like, yes, I'm fucking hungry. It's time to eat. If you're not, back off your food a little bit at each one of those meals. Okay, if you're eating a cup and a half, we'll back it down to a cup. At each meal, no matter how hungry you are at that first meal or second meal, just back it off and see if you're hungry at that fourth meal. Because if you're not hungry, now you're defeating the purpose of this whole process. We want to eat, we want to gain, we want to make progress. Because if you're not hungry, then it's defeating the purpose. So, same thing, that's one of the reasons that I use these carbohydrates over here sparingly. Because I know I'm able to keep myself very hungry with my chicken and rice. I know how to utilize it. That way, I'm able to say, okay, at my third meal or my second meal or whatever have you, my fourth meal, I'm going to throw in 12 ounces of red potato with my chicken, and it's going to spike. It's going to spike. I'm going to feel fuller. I'm going to look better. I'm going to go to the gym, utilize all the nutrients that I just ate, burn them off, and then say, okay, my next meal, back on chicken and rice. Okay, you need to find how it works best for you. Okay, so this chicken and rice thing, people will bust my balls. They're like, you don't only eat chicken and rice. No, it's a baseline. You're able to find out how to utilize everything else. Sometimes I'll eat chicken and rice all day for all first 4 meals, go to the gym, train back, come home and say, I need food. I'll sit down and I'll eat 3 cups of cooked pasta with 8 ounces of red meat and then still be hungry. Okay, that doesn't mean I need to eat more, okay? That might just say, okay, you're done eating, eat to a 7, and then get some more food in you about 2.5, 3 hours later, okay? You have to find out how that works, but make yourself hungry. You being hungry is telling your body's way of telling you you're anabolic. You're anabolic, you're growing, okay? If you force feed yourself, you're going to end up stressing your body out. It's not like you're going to be even hungrier the next meal or the next meal after that. You might end up saying, I'm only eating 3.5 meals a day because I'm not fucking hungry anymore. That's defeating the purpose. So, with carbohydrate choices, choose them selectively. Rice has always been my baseline. I add in potatoes probably once a day right now. I do pasta once every 2 or 3 days. My oats every other day, every 3 days. And sweet potatoes, I'm not really dieting right now, so I eat sweet potatoes when I like a really good steak, because sweet potatoes with some brown sugar and cinnamon on them is really fucking good. And my wife is converting me into somewhat of a fat fuck because she puts butter on everything, and I end up I don't put butter on my potatoes. Maybe sometimes. But no, I hope you learned something here. Really basic stuff. Baseline's always going to be rice for me. Find out what works for you. Add in, sprinkle in all the other carbohydrates into your day. Remember, pay attention to how they affect you. Okay? You pay attention to how they affect you, you can make your gains, make your own judgment calls, and be honest with yourself. Don't bullshit yourself. Fat and gains. Weigh them out. All right, everybody. Follow me on Instagram, @Seth Feroce. Follow on Snapchat. Subscribe. Enjoy your day. Kiss your wife. Hug your kids. Have a wonderful life.